If you're constantly buying a new foundation because you can't get the right finish, what if it's not the foundation but the way you're applying it that's causing the problem? In this video, I'm going to be trialling 5 different ways to apply the same foundation because I want to find out which application method looks the best. The 5 application methods that I've chosen are fingers because they're the applicators we all have. I've got 2 different types of foundation brush, the flat brush and this they call the Kabuki Brush. I've got the good old beauty blender and I've got this little contraption which I'm not sure what it's called. It's quite a new addition to my makeup bag. I think it's like an oval blender or a foundation buffer or something. The foundation I've chosen is this one by Armani. It's called a powder fabric foundation. The reason I'm using this is because it's got quite a decent coverage. So I wanted to use one that was a heavier coverage that also enabled me to really test it. So first application method, we're going to use fingers. The thing with fingers, what I've found in the past is you actually need probably a little bit more product than you do with other application methods. So that's the amount I'm taking. I don't like the idea of topping up. I think you need to get it on in one go because it starts to dry on the skin. So I'm starting in the middle and I'm just going to work out. So because my skin is fully prepared, and up between my eyebrows. Now I am taking it underneath my eyes. I'm taking it close to the eyes because I want to test how it cakes in fine lines with the different methods. Now I am testing 3 things. I'm testing ease of application, I'm testing level of coverage, and I'm also going to test the end result. And at the end of the video, I'll be ranking them all and telling you what my order is of the different application methods. Now, when I said you need to put a bit more on, that now is, there's no more pliability, flexibility. That's on my skin and I can't move it. You know how you apply moisturiser and you can almost keep massaging it in and it moves. It's got slip. I think it's the word I'm looking for. It's got slip. There's no slip with this. I've put this on now and it's like it's stuck to my skin. And I think if I start rubbing it anymore, I'm going to start rubbing it off. It's going to start going dry and flaky. That now is it. Okay. 3 things I'm testing. Ease of application. You've got to say definitely it's easy. You've got your fingers and you're just applying it. But the reality is I don't think it is that easy. First thing is I really dislike that when you get it on your fingers because now I need to go and wash my hands. I can't do anything else. I can't be picking up any makeup brushes or anything at all because I'm going to get foundation on everything I touch. So that I don't like. But that's irrelevant to the look on the face. So using my trusty little high magnifying mirror, let's have a little look. So yeah, ease of application, I would say, I'm going to give it a 3 for ease of application because it's not hard, but there are bits I don't like that's not right, using your fingers. Level of coverage, I wouldn't say it was bad, but what I feel is it's almost pasted on my skin. A little bit like if you're applying butter to a slice of bread and you know it just sort of rests on the top. I don't feel like it's part of my skin. I feel like it's on the surface of my skin. And I can already see, and this is, 2 minutes after, it's sort of creating little lines that I don't think you necessarily get with other application methods. So yeah, coverage isn't actually as bad as I thought it was going to be, but I don't feel it's perfect. But I'm going to give it for coverage probably a 4, I think. I'm going to give it a 4 for coverage, it has done that. Looking at overall result, this isn't an application method I would use if it was a special occasion or if I really wanted my skin to look its best. So regarding end result, I'm probably going to give this method more of a 3. My result is it just seems to have settled on top of my skin and not be part of the skin. And again, anything I touch now, I've got to wash my hands before I do it. And that for me is a bit annoying. So the second application method, I'm going to use the flat foundation brush. I will put links below of everything I'm using. One thing I would say first of all is don't ever squeeze directly onto a brush. It doesn't work, it goes on too heavy and it sort of blobs. Blobs, is that a professional term? So what I'm doing, I'm just applying it to the palm of my hand. Not that much product. As you can see, there isn't a lot. You find when you use the brushes, I think, that they do spread it quite a way. And I'm going to start from the centre of my face and work outwards. Now this feels, first of all, regarding application, straight away is I feel I have pliability. With my fingers, the product felt like it was setting on my skin. Here it doesn't feel like that at all. What I would say as well is move your face around when you're applying foundation. You want to get in all those little nooks and crannies. And as you can see, it does take a little bit of work, foundation. But this, the amount of time I'm actually working with it now is a lot longer than I was able to do with my fingers. Okay, so let's have a little look. First of all, ease of application. That for me was really easy, really easy. What I liked about this is because it's broad and of course it's narrow, things like going around the side of the nose. Okay, I liked that. Going underneath the eyes, I liked that. It seemed to be smooth, it glided. I like the fact that you're using the side of the bristles. You go like that, you're not using the end of the bristles, so it was very comfortable. So ease, I'm going to give that a good 4 out of 5, I think, for ease. Very generous today. Let's have a look for coverage. Well, straight away that coverage is so much better than my fingers. For me, I'm not sure how well you can see on camera, but for me, that level of coverage is so much better. It doesn't look patchy. Gosh, I can see all the little flaws here. Round the eyes. Yeah, that for me is a good coverage. There's loads of lines there where I can't blame the brush and I can't blame the product. That's just me. Do I give it a 5 for coverage? Overall effect, final results. I'd call it the lighter side of between light and heavy coverage. I know it could look stronger and harder, but this for me is a really nice natural but still made up. So final result for me with this is the sort of thing I'd feel very made up in the day and I would feel nice natural for an evening, not heavy in the evening. So I quite like that actually. So next I'm trying the round facial brush, sometimes called the Kabuki brush. It's very soft, okay, a lot more bristles compared to the flat brush, a lot more bristles, but the method of application is actually quite different as well. I'm going to apply the product to the palm of my hand. So I want to work it into the brush here. I don't want it resting on the surface of the brush. I don't want to sort of just lay it on top. I want it into the brush. When we're applying it, it's sort of coming out of the bristles. I'm starting in the middle. Now with this, what I feel straight away, here I'm using the tips of the bristles rather than the side. So it's the tips there that are touching my skin. I feel it's slightly irritating my skin. It doesn't feel as soft going onto my skin. Now what you can do with this as well is sort of stipple it into the skin to get a heavier coverage. Which of course you can't stipple with the flat brush. Interesting, very, very interesting. Okay. It almost feels like little tiny pinpricks, and I've never felt that sensation before because I've never really thought about it or analysed it. But as I'm doing that, it's annoying me. It's like, how to describe it? I don't like it. It's a good brush. This is an Il Maquillage brush, and I've got the same brush, almost identical, that's a Laura Geller. But as I'm doing it, it doesn't feel like it's soft on my skin. So regarding ease of application, I would have always said that this was easier, particularly than this one. I would have always thought this was easier. But on this occasion, I'm actually finding that you need to work it more. Work it, baby. You need to work it more. Because of the size of the head as well, the volume of the head, you're not getting into the nose area as easily. It's sort of too big to get around the nose. Going under the eye area, it almost feels like it's too big. And particularly if you're going to use the stippling method, which is a stronger level of coverage, not only does that irritate my skin, it feels prickly. It just feels like it's prickling and annoying my skin. I don't think that's good around the delicate skin around the eyes. I'm probably going to give that about a 3 for ease of application. Coverage, level of coverage. Oh, interesting. I'm going to see if we can get close in here, under my eye there. It's patchy underneath my eye there. And that's because the size of the brush and the area that is to cover, it's not covering it. It's not getting in there. It doesn't fit. Cheek area, chin area, around the mouth area, good application. That does feel good. So the area where it's not worked are the little bits around the corners of my eyes and the corners of my nose. Regarding coverage, I'm only going to give it a 3 for coverage. Final results. So when I look in the mirror now in front of me, To me, this looks like a great coverage, which is why that's probably been my go-to applicator all this time. So that looks like a better coverage, but close up, it's not a better coverage. That's the difference. Overall result, probably I'm only going to give it 3.5 to 4, which is still a fair mark, but it's when you look up close, it doesn't work as well. Next, we're using the Beauty Blender. Now, most people I think have got a Beauty Blender or have used a Beauty Blender. The key thing being you've got to make sure it's damp. And I don't just mean slightly spritz with water, put it under running water, get it completely soaked, squeeze it out so all the water comes out, and then you can always get a towel as well and just squeeze it in the towel to get out any excess water, so it should be damp and soft and pliable. I've just got 3 little pumps there. I have used a little bit more with the Beauty Blender. The reason being is it does absorb quite a bit of product. But what I'm not doing with the blender is massaging it into the blender, okay? I'm just taking it and dabbing it on the surface. But what we are doing is, as always, we start in the middle and work out. So I'm just going, and I'm not doing one side and then going to the other, because I'm distributing the product evenly. And then we can start moving it. Now this feels really soft and gentle on my skin. To get a little bit more coverage, I've got a little bit left on my palm actually, I'll take a bit more up on my cheeks. I'm just pressing it into my skin here. That's the thing with the Beauty Blender, you can press it in. And because the blender's damp, the product doesn't dry hard. Like it did when you were applying it with your fingers, the product almost dries in your hands. This doesn't, it stays pliable, mouldable. You've just got so much more flexibility with it. Let's have a little look. Okay, ease of application, it's got to be a 5. It is so easy, it's damp, you can't go wrong. It's a wet sponge with a cream product and you're just smearing it all over your face. Let's have a look at coverage. Coverage again with the blender is really good. It's smooth, particularly because you've worked it all over the skin. But what I would say with the blender is it's a lighter coverage. It's not the evening makeup. It's not the special occasion makeup for this. If you want that light look on your face, that light coverage, it's a great way of doing it. Overall effect, let's look at overall effect. Again, I think that looks light, natural. I don't feel caked, it doesn't feel at all heavy. Of all the methods, this feels the lightest on my skin. It's the one I feel on my skin the least. You know, my skin can move and it almost feels like I've got nothing on it at all, just moisturiser. So overall effect, I think the Beauty Blender is always good. Last one, now this is quite a new addition to my makeup bag. I only got this recently. It's not new in the world of applying foundation, it's just something that I saw and I thought, I'm going to try it. Don't know what they're called, oval applicator, foundation buffer, something like that. Again, I'll put links down below. But it is bristles. It is very soft bristles. It feels really soft, but it's a lot more dense. It's a lot more compact. That one, of course, is a lot more spaced out. So I'm going to use the same principle again. I'm going to apply it to the palm of my hands. So I've just massaged this in. I've got it on there. You really can't see it. And let's have a look what happens. This is a lot softer than the previous brush, but I can't really see any product. I'm going to have to do some more. I'm doing the same amount again. It's like it's all in the brush. Maybe that was me. That's a bit better. I don't know if you can see, but I'm having to drag my skin. It's really pulling my skin. It doesn't glide over the top of my skin, but I just feel like it's not really got the coverage. It feels like it's moving my skin around a little bit too much. Ease of application, this actually wasn't that easy. Considering it's a brush and it should be easy, it wasn't that easy. So I'm going to give this a lower score. I'm going to give this like the 2 because it's not easy at all. And I felt that it moved my skin. So the product's on there and it's not sliding and gliding, no matter how softly I do it, it then doesn't come off. I don't think it's given me the coverage that other methods have. I don't feel here, I feel like I've got enough foundation on. I can still see through it. It's a very light coverage, but for the volume of product that I had to put on my hand and actually on here, I'm using a lot more product and yet there seems to be an awful lot less on my face. Because it's a very dense set of bristles, I feel that the product's all absorbed into the bristles I wonder if, let me just try this. Let me just get a bit more in my hand, and I'm not going to rub it into the brush. Let me just see out of curiosity. I'm just laying it on the top of the brush here. Is that what you're supposed to, well, you can see straight away. Maybe that's how you're supposed to use it. That actually did go on better. So that could be user error there. Let me have a little look. Oh gosh. No, you see, now that feels really heavy. You know, when you see people with foundation on, you feel like you can get your nails and scrape it off. That's how that looks. So no, ease of use, about a 2. Coverage, again about a 2. Final results, a generous 2. Not a huge fan of that one. So ranking these in order, what's interesting for me is I had no idea where this was going to go. I didn't have something in my mind that said this is the best way to apply your foundation and I'm going to prove a point here. This was for me to say I've got all these methods available to me. I have my go-to, but I didn't know if that was the best way. So it's almost been an experiment for me and to share with you. I'm going to start in 5th place and I'll explain my reasons why. Yeah, this is my least favourite. It's the newest one I've got. I will put a link in the description box below, but I'm not recommending it. I wouldn't buy it again. I don't think I'd use it again. I did look at some reviews when I got it after I bought it, and what I was seeing all the time was not just the application, was the design, because if you can see it's very thin there, and what people were saying is it snaps when they're applying it down there. And if that's happening, that's telling me they're having to apply a lot of pressure. So if you're having to apply a lot of pressure to get the look, that means it's not working very, very well. That's 5th for me. I'll keep it in a drawer somewhere. Doubt it'll come out again. 4th for me, fingers. Yeah, they were quick, they were easy. It's something that you've got, but I would say with the fingers is you get it patchy, it doesn't smooth, it dries on the skin as you're applying it. It's almost, as you're putting it on, what's happening is it's sticking to the skin. 3, interesting for me, 3rd place, because this is my go-to method. This is what, if I apply foundation, this is the brush that I use and I'm placing it in 3rd place. The reason being is I didn't like the fact those very soft bristles were irritating my skin. It was sort of pricking my skin. My skin was feeling a bit tender and a bit raw, and this was the only time when taking off the foundation that my skin felt sensitive. Second place, the Beauty Blender. It's always going to be up there, isn't it? The Beauty Blender is always going to be one of the top favourites. I love the Beauty Blender because it's easy to apply. I love it because it gives a smooth coverage. It gives an even coverage. I love it because it's quick, it's easy. I think the end result's fantastic. The only downside of the Beauty Blender being your makeup doesn't look thick or heavy. So if you're wanting a very glam, very heavily made up look, your Beauty Blender doesn't really do that. But what I would say is the more we mature, the less we're looking for that heavier look. So if we're not looking for a heavy cake to look, then it's perfect, which means my 1st place is actually this brush, and that surprised me. Okay, it really is soft. It goes round the eyes, it molds to the skin, it goes round the creases of the nose, it goes round the mouth, it doesn't irritate, it's smooth, you place it. That's my 1st choice, and it surprised me. It really has. I hope you found that useful. I've actually been enlightened by this today. I've learned something too. I hope you found that useful. If you want to know more about foundation, check out my video here and I go into a lot more depth. Any questions you have, of course, pop them in the comments box. Please do subscribe. Please do share my videos. It really does help the channel and it means the world to me. Thank you so much again for watching. Description box, go and get yourself a brush and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.